everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we have a new poll by Echelon Insights which releases about every single month going over the 2028 Democratic and Republican fields, and today we're going over the poll that just shows what the month of April is showing for the 2028 primaries. As I mentioned, this poll was conducted by Echelon Insights of a survey of 1,014 voters in the likely electorate with a margin of error of 3.5%, field dates between April 10th and April 14th. I haven't looked at the numbers, but I did check before, so I know the numbers are on the 6th page of the PDF, which also I encourage you to look up online. You can check it out as well. If the 2028 Democratic presidential primary were being held today, whom would you support? Kamala Harris has 28% of the vote. She is in first place. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker now up to second place at 11%. Cory Booker got a lot of media attention for his record-breaking filibuster speech in the U.S. Senate a few weeks ago, and that seems to have paid off big time for him, where in the previous poll, I don't even believe Cory Booker was mentioned, or if he was down near 1% or 2%. He is now shot up all the way to 11% in second place in the early 2028 Democratic primary poll. So the political stunt that Booker did, if in the back of his mind he hoped it would help him for 2028, well, according to this poll, it seems to have done that, jumping him up all the way to second place. In third place, we have a tie between Pete Buttigieg, the former transportation secretary and 2020 Democratic candidate, not nominee candidate, and New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who she and Bernie Sanders are going around the United States doing events and such and getting Democratic voters energized. They are tied for third place at 7% of the vote. In fourth place, we have Minnesota Governor and former vice presidential nominee Tim Walz. Gavin Newsom behind him with 4% of the vote. Jasmine Crockett has 3% of the vote, the Democratic congresswoman from Texas. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro is 3%. Gretchen Whitmer, Governor of Michigan, 3%. J.B. Pritzker, 3%. Jon Stewart, political commentator and TV personality, has 3%. That'd be very fun. Wes Moore, the Democratic Governor of Maryland, 2%. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear with 1%. Colorado Governor Jared Polis, 1%. John Fetterman, Raphael Warnock, both have 1%. Stephen A. Smith, the TV personality, who just recently said he is considering, after saying he was not going to consider a run in 2028, says he may have to consider it. He's at 1% as well. And then we have Mark Cuban and Ruben Gallego, both under 1% of the vote, with 2% saying someone else, please specify, and 12% of respondents saying unsure. This is some very big developments where I have on the other page the last poll they did in Echelon Insights in the prior poll, which is going to be this one right here. Kamala Harris had 33%, and now in this new poll, she's fallen down to 28%. I said this a few months ago in one of the polls that first went over the 2028. After the presidential election, when they asked who's the most likely nominee, it's almost always the former nominee that was just at the top of the ballot. They always start off with an advantage, and typically by the next election, those numbers seem to fade over time as more Democratic or Republican names come up, get popular, get in the media attention, and then go on from there. It seems in this poll by YouGov, Harris was around 25%, and now in this new one in Echelon Insights, the second consecutive poll to have Harris under 30% of the vote at 28%. The good news for the former vice president is she still has first place in the poll at 28%. She has the biggest assortment of consolidated support behind her, but with the emergence of Cory Booker at 11%, Buttigieg and AOC still remaining strong at 7%, there seems to be a lot of Democratic appetite for another Democrat not named Kamala Harris. Though 28%, Harris certainly still starts out with the lead, and if the primary was held today, would probably be the 2028 Democratic nominee. But that is certainly worth noting. As I did Harris with 33% is worth noting. In the last poll, Pete Buttigieg had 10%, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had 7%, so Buttigieg's support actually went down 3%, while AOC stayed the same at 7%. 15% of the vote was undecided, 21% was other. Cory Booker was not included, I believe, in this part of the poll, but now he is all the way up to second place. The poll goes on further. If the 2028 Democratic presidential primary were being held today, who would you vote for between Kamala Harris and Cory Booker? 54% said probably or definitely Kamala Harris, 34% Cory Booker. So again, Kamala Harris has the advantage in the 2028 Democratic primary field for right now, but there is a sizable percentage that seems to want someone else besides Harris. About 46% are not supporting Harris. Of the 54% who do, 46% are not. But still, Cory Booker getting 34% support him are pretty good, 12% unsure. Now it also goes over the Republican field as well. Who would you vote for? No surprise, really. J.D. Vance has a whopping command over the Republican primary field with 47%. Ron DeSantis with 9%. RFK Jr. 7%. Vivek Ramaswamy 5%. Marco Rubio 4%. Nikki Haley 4%. Josh Hawley, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Ted Cruz, Kristi Noem, Tulsi Gabbard, Tim Scott, and all have 1%. Doug Burgum, Glenn Youngkin, and Steve Bannon have less than 1% or 0%. 16% of Republican respondents are still unsure at this time, and that's it on the Republican side of things. So obviously it depends how the next 3 years or so for the Trump administration goes, but right now it looks like J.D. Vance is the clear frontrunner to be the Republican nominee in 2028. Though it is interesting to see Robert F. Kennedy Jr., now the former Democrat, in third place at 7%, shows how much the MAGA wing of the Republican Party has really warmed up to RFK Jr. and likes the work he's doing in Trump's administration. It's also worth noting that Tulsi Gabbard, similar to RFK, is also included in the poll as well. So that's where things stand on that front. Obviously, 2028 is a long ways away. These numbers, I'm sure, are going to change a billion times between now and the 2028 presidential election. But as of today, I thought it would be very interesting to look at this poll. The takeaway on the Democratic side is Kamala Harris still leads over the Democratic primary, but her numbers are shrinking a little bit from the last time this poll was conducted, and Cory Booker is without a doubt the big riser and big winner in this poll. After the Senate filibuster speech that he did, it seems to have really helped out his political career, jumping him now up to the second place in the hypothetical 2028 Democratic primary. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a like. Make sure to leave a comment below. Tell me your thoughts. Who do you think will be the 2028 Democratic primary? Leave your thoughts down below. Also, make sure to click subscribe as I post 2 new videos every single day at 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. that you're not going to want to miss. Again, thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you in the next video.